The colony world of Arden 4 was supposed to be peaceful. When the first human ships arrived 20 years earlier, the planet looked like a paradise waiting to be settled. Vast golden plains rolled beneath clear blue skies, enormous forests stretched for thousands of kilometers, and the rivers carried crystal water fresh from distant mountain ranges. But there was one problem. Arden 4 was already home to something else, the Rykar. No one knew exactly how intelligent they were at first. Early scans had classified them as large predator mammals, dangerous, territorial, but not sentient. They resembled massive wolves with thick, armored fur, glowing amber eyes, and muscular bodies built for speed. Their cubs were playful and curious. Their adults were deadly. It took nearly 5 years before human scientists realized the truth. The Rykar weren't just animals. They were a clan species. They had hierarchy, communication, even something that looked very close to culture. By the time the discovery was confirmed, several human colonies had already been built near their territory. Tensions were high, and most settlements kept a strict rule: avoid Rykar territory at all costs. Most colonists obeyed that rule, but Sergeant Elena Ward was not most colonists. Elena had served 8 years in the United Terran Defense Fleet before retiring to the frontier. Life in a quiet colony suited her most of the time, but old habits were hard to break. So when the colony sensors detected strange activity near the forest edge, Elena volunteered for patrol duty. She walked the perimeter alone that afternoon, her pulse rifle slung across her shoulder and a scanning tablet in her hand. The grass swayed gently in the warm wind, and distant birds circled high above the plains. Everything looked peaceful. Too peaceful. Elena stopped and checked the scanner again. Movement detected. The screen read, multiple small life signs. Close. She frowned. Great, she muttered. The bushes ahead rustled. 3 small shapes tumbled into the clearing. Rykar cubs. They were about the size of large dogs, with thick dark fur and oversized paws that made their movements slightly clumsy. Their glowing amber eyes locked onto Elena instantly. The largest cub tilted its head. Then it growled. A tiny, squeaky attempt at intimidation. Elena blinked. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. The cubs slowly spread out around her. Their posture was aggressive, but not confident. Young. Testing. Elena had seen this behavior before. Teenage predators learning how to scare things. The second cub tried to puff up its fur and let out a louder growl. Elena crossed her arms. You 3 practicing? She asked calmly. The cubs froze. The smallest one took a step forward and snapped its tiny teeth. Elena sighed. Right? Of course. She crouched slightly so she was closer to their eye level. Listen carefully, she said. I'm not your prey. The cubs looked confused. They expected fear, running, something, not a lecture. The biggest cub stomped its paw and snarled louder. Elena shook her head. Yeah, very scary. Then something changed. A low rumble rolled across the plains. Elena's head snapped toward the forest. That wasn't a cub. That was something much bigger. The cubs heard it too. Their playful aggression vanished instantly. Their ears flattened. Their bodies tensed. From the edge of the forest, dark shapes began to move. Elena's stomach dropped. 6 creatures emerged from the trees, but they weren't Rykar. They were Drax hunters. The Drax were one of the most feared raiding species in the outer colonies. Tall, insect-like warriors covered in chitin armor, armed with plasma blades and hunting rifles. They specialized in capturing alien wildlife for black market buyers. And right now, their eyes were locked on the cubs. One of them clicked its mandibles, valuable specimens. It hissed in broken trade speech. Elena stepped forward immediately. Nope, The Drax paused. The lead hunter turned its helmet toward her. "Human," it said coldly. "Leave." Elena slowly unslung her rifle. "Not happening." The cubs huddled behind her instinctively. Elena spoke quietly without turning around. "Stay close." Her voice was calm. "Steady." The cubs pressed against her legs. "Behind me," she whispered. The Drax hunter raised its weapon. "You protect animals," it mocked. Elena smirked. "No." Her rifle clicked as she primed the charge cell. "I protect kids." The first shot lit the field with a blinding flash. A Drax warrior dropped instantly. The others scattered, screeching in rage. Plasma bolts tore through the grass around her. Elena moved fast. Years of military training took over. She fired, rolled, and repositioned with brutal efficiency. But there were too many of them. One Drax leapt forward with a glowing blade. Elena swung the rifle stock into its head and knocked it back. Another shot grazed her shoulder. She gritted her teeth. The cubs watched everything, and something inside them changed. Their fear turned into something else. Instinct. The biggest cub let out a sharp bark. The other two responded instantly. They spread out, flanking, exactly like adult Rakar hunters. The first cub lunged at a distracted Drax warrior and sank its teeth into the alien's leg. The hunter screamed. The second cub tackled another from the side. The third darted between them, snapping and clawing. Elena glanced back in shock. Seriously. The cubs moved with sudden precision. Not clumsy anymore. Disciplined. Focused, like soldiers following a commander. Elena laughed breathlessly. "Well, all right then." Together they fought. Human and cubs moving like a pack. Minutes later, the last Drax hunter fled into the forest. Silence fell across the battlefield. Elena lowered her rifle. The cubs stood proudly around her. Their fur was dirty and their breathing heavy, but their eyes burned with excitement. "You three," Elena said, shaking her head, "are absolutely insane." A deep roar echoed across the plains. The cubs froze. Massive shapes emerged from the forest. Adult Rykar, at least 10 of them. Their glowing eyes scanned the battlefield. Dead Drax, burned grass. Their cubs standing beside a human. The largest adult stepped forward. Its massive head lowered toward the cubs. They chirped excitedly, explaining everything in rapid growls and barks. The adult's gaze shifted slowly to Elena. For a long moment, neither moved. Then the great predator did something no colonist had ever seen before. It bowed its head. One by one, the entire pack followed. Elena blinked. "Okay," she whispered. The biggest cub trotted over and bumped her leg proudly. She scratched its ears absent-mindedly. "Don't get used to that," she muttered. The adult Rakar watched her carefully. In their culture, defending cubs meant something sacred, something unbreakable, and today, a human had fought like one of their own. Across Arden 4, stories would spread about the human who stood in front of predator cubs and faced down hunters without hesitation. But the Rykar remembered the moment differently. They remembered the quiet command that started everything. 3 simple words. And the day their cubs learned how to fight, like soldiers of a human pack.